Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime, and I'm your host, William Chow. And today's episode is going to be another kind of fun episode. Today I'm going to talk about being obsessed with video games, and I know my friend had the Happy Console Gamer did one where he was talking about the obsession with his Final Fantasy Online. Well, my obsession, my recent obsession, of course, is with this game here, Pokemon Go. So, a lot of you have probably played it, and a lot of people probably have stopped playing it. And in the previous episode, I've already hit level 40, and I've already collected all of generation 1, 2, and 3. So, I'm sort of sliding into sort of a more retirement mode, if you will, with the game. But I figured, okay, this might be a good time to kind of summarize and kind of tell some stories about how I played Pokemon Go, and just probably realize that I'm probably playing this game a little more obsessively than others. So let's kind of go over that, right? So first of all, as we all know that Pokemon Go first came out in the summer of 2016, and we all started playing the game at that time and whatnot. One of quick questions that a lot of people ask me nowadays is that why do you play with so many devices? I typically carry five accounts with me, and the reason is that again, dating back to the start of Pokemon Go, Pokemon Go came out a big craze, during that summer. And at the end of that summer of 2016, we have what they call the P&E, the Pacific National Exhibition. It's kind of like our local county fair. So it has like amusement rides and carnival games, the 4-H show, lots of concerts and big names come in and do that one thing. Anyway, everyone's trying to get onto the bandwagon. To do with this Pokemon Go thing, right? So one of the things that the PNE did one day was they had put out a promotion that if you played Pokemon Go, they for the first hour that the fair is on, you can get in for free as long as you had Pokemon Go on your mobile device. So at this time, only me and my son were playing, and the rest of the family didn't have accounts. So again, I had to basically generate 3 extra accounts to take care of all the rest of the members of the family, so we can all go to the PNE together and we can all get in for free. So that's the story of how I actually came up with just having the more accounts, up to basically 5 accounts to basically correspond to each member of the family. Okay, again, at this moment, didn't really do much with them afterwards, right? Just sort of build them up. At the end of this, the first year of Pokemon Go, we ended up with basically these towers of Dragonites, and if you remember from the first phase of the gym system, they were all filed with 10 players, all filed according to their CP number. And of course, in first generation, the highest things that you can have in CP rating is a Dragonite. Okay, other things like Laprases before they nerfed them, and Snorlaxes were your other ones, but again, nothing can go as high as the Dragonite. So basically, everyone stacked these gyms with like 10 Dragonites and all of them are like over 3,000 CP. And again, so it's really tough to take down these gyms. And again, what I started to end up using these extra accounts for is for basically gym stuffing and raising the prestige level of the gyms and that kind of stuff. Again, very light and occasional usage of that kind of thing. And again, now with the new rating system that's been put into the gyms, now the extra accounts become my helpers. Again, with Niantic being very slow in upgrading the bag size and the Pokédex size, they're now basically mules, if you will, back in the good old D&D days, right? And on the note of D&D, okay, so I probably am not very much different than most Pokemon Go players in that respect. However, one of the things I did with Pokemon Go that made me so interested in it is I like the numerical sort of side thing. I'm really big math and stats kind of guy. So some of the things I did above and beyond just playing the game is some of the things that having to do with this this affliction towards math. So one of the things now mentioning the D&D side of things, I got a book and basically hand wrote what is basically equivalent to a D&D character sheet for each of my characters. So if you can kind of, I won't go zoom into too much because that, but basically each one of my different characters that I have on the game, I basically built a kind of a D&D style kind of character sheet, okay, for them. And so basically that will keep track of their their experience points, their level, what things they have in their inventory, pretty much exactly what you do with a D&D sheet. So I basically kept track of what I needed to do with all the various different characters and that kind of stuff for that. Okay. The other thing that's sort of unique in my situation is that I live very close to a gym. All right. So, I am from basically my computer workstation. I am in range with the gym, pretty much all day. So I can monitor who's in the gym. I can spin the gym every 5 minutes. I've even gone to the extent of getting extra pluses to hook up and wire things. So every 5 minutes these pluses go off, beep beep beep, and I just press them. That spins the gym again every 5 minutes. So and you can do that. The 11, 12 times an hour, you'll get like 100 things every hour, and basically my inventory would just get filled, basically every hour, filled with crap, and I'm gonna just start deleting and throwing away balls and all the other stuff. So that's one thing I did. Okay, the other major thing I started to do is, again, to keep track of what's going on, is I made a spreadsheet. Okay, and basically did other things on the computer, which again I'm gonna give you a closer look on to see what things I've done on the computer. Things. Again, these things are available on my website, so you can have a look at them, see what I've done. I didn't update certain things, but that's fairly easy to do with the information of that, because these are just simple Excel spreadsheets that you can just modify using Excel, or of course just load them onto like Google books or something like that. You can just do it on there too. Okay, so what we have here is my master Pokedex for all 5 accounts, and across the top I have my main account. I also have what they call a malt, which is my main alt account. I have 2 salts, which are my secondary alts, and I have a ralt, which is my red alt account. Down the main column is basically a list of all the Pokemon and their names by number, and basically I list through the sheet which Pokemon I have, what their CP is, what their IV percentage is, what their Stardust value for increasing their level to level them up. So i.e. that's what level, and then any notes I have, including where I caught it, who I traded it with, any special notes about locations, whether it has the highest IV, or whether it has any special moves from quests, whether I EX rated them, whether or not they're from one of the hatched from one of the quest adventures that you had to do. And so they're all listed on this database, so I can know where I am and with each of the different things on this list. Here I have a shorter list, which is the trading sheet. So this basically allows me to keep track of what extra Pokemon I have available for all the various different accounts, and it tabulates them in a table here so that I can then know how many of any particular Pokemon I have that's available that I can use for trades. Now, some of this data is really confusing because it has lots of zeros and entries like that, so I've built a macro inside the Excel to basically condense this into a more concise table. So here's the table which shows what's available for trades. Now I can take this table and put it into a text file, which should be nicely laid out in table format, and then that'll be easy to be read by a Word or Notepad. Okay, shinies are a big fad right now, so I've also had to build a special table
which will keep track of where all my shinies are, and when I've got them on trade for with people, and also keep track of which extra ones I have available for trades as well. One of the first things I did when I was very curious about how Pokemon function is basically how the computer calculates what the CP is and what the IV levels and how efficient it was to level up your Pokemon. So the idea was to basically calculate how much Stardust you would use per point of CP that you gained, how much candy you used, for how much CP you had, and also to try to find out how close to the maximum number of hit points that you could get against how much Stardust you used. And of course, we all now know that it's level 30 and a half, which that break point is. But again, at the time when these IVs weren't available, this is what this chart did for me. Playing with multiple devices and the use of trays is nothing new to the raid scene, but now I've basically gone through and created multiple different types of raid trays to help me raid in the Vancouver environment. So here's my first revision of the Pokemon Go tray, and I made a mock YouTube video as a commercial for this particular one, so have a look at that as well if you want a good laugh. I codenamed this one the GM. This is my second revision with basically a more reinforced range shield and basically the ability to handle one more extra device. And I codenamed this one the Mark II. There's also a need for me to have something that's light and portable, yet still functional as a RAID tray. So I have now built a transformable version, which allows me to basically shrink down to 3 devices or expand up to 7 if needed. And I coded in this one Zeta.
So this gives you an indication that I've taken a normal game like Pokemon Go, where many of you have already played or finished or have stopped playing or whatever, and that's great. And I've taken it past regular playing to almost an obsession, and taking it to where the game maybe didn't expect you to go, and that's sort of what I like about playing some of these type of games. To see where the limit goes on these games, okay, and see where it mathematically will take you, okay. So anyway, I'm obviously pretty much done this game, so I'm gonna probably go on to another one and try to figure and do something else with that one, and then who knows, maybe I'll do the same thing. Hard to say. Probably depends how much I get into some of these games, right? Anyway, so if you like this episode, definitely you want to go down to the below here, and you want to hit subscribe, you want to hit like. And then you'll get some more episodes as they come up. Because again, I got some more stuff coming up, quite quickly here, and you can be able to catch all that stuff. All right. So until next time, see you again.